I was tormented by the devil in my sleep for 6 years. It was definitely not a fun experience. I just want to give you a little backstory to it so that you can understand where I come from and maybe identify and find some similarities in what you may feel right now. And it was at the age of 5 that I really kind of picked up some things and was conscious about some things, right? And we were in this house. Even looked creepy from outside, man. I ain't going cap. But my brother and I, we shared the room together because we were still small, and I ain't even gonna hold you. I had nightmares like almost every day, bro. That's no cap. I'm not exaggerating. Almost every day I had nightmares, and these nightmares, they were always similar. The devil always played a big part in it. And we had that basement, and this basement was like the typical basement for like a scary movie, bro. We had our fridge in the basement, and my mother always told me to get something in the fridge, right? She was cooking and she needed help, so I needed to grab the stuff in the fridge. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go and stuff. And I always remember I went down the stairs and I kind of had to go around the corner, and then there was like different rooms, and the funny thing about it, the fridge was almost at the last room, so I always had to go down the basement, right, to the last room, get the stuff out of the fridge. And I remember, if y'all didn't do this when you were younger, y'all were some strong kids, like, for real. But I always put on every light, bro, and as I got the things out of the fridge, I'm like 3, 2, 1, and zoom, I was Usain Bolt on that thing, man. I grabbed the stuff, I switched off the lights, and I always thought like the devil was right behind me trying to snap me and get me out of there. But it was like every time it was so scary. And I remember in my sleep, I was so anxious, and I was so afraid of sleeping because I knew the devil was going to torment me again and again. And it was always like that. I always had the same dream, and the location was always my house. Now I think the house was for sure kind of doomed. Principalities and demons were all up in this house, man. The landlord was also like a bit iffy, but yeah, I always had these horrible nightmares, right? But it went like this. I kind of was always outside, and I only remember always running to the door. I always felt of being like followed by, right? I always knew that someone is following me, so I always ran to the door. I had keys, right? So you know, in scary movies, opening up the door always takes a long time. I had the same thing. It took me ages to open up that door. But as I opened up that door, I ran inside, and I always wanted to close that door. But the devil always stretched out his hand, right? I knew it was the devil because, man. And he stretched out his hand, and I couldn't close the door. I was like so weak. Like I couldn't close it. And just picture this. We had this door right here, and I always wanted to close it, right? And we had the steps that went up to the apartment upstairs, and I always ran up the stairs. And as I was in that apartment, the devil didn't chase me. That always confused me, that he never chased me, right? But I was always in the apartment. I ran to the kitchen, and it was always the same scenario, man. I was in the kitchen, and I knew he was coming in a second. I felt it, man. And I always heard his footsteps. I always heard the steps, da, 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 da. And I knew he was coming. And I'm like, Jesus, 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 Jesus. But that never helped, right? And I'm not downplaying the role of Jesus, but I never believed what I was saying, right? I was small and all of that, but the devil always came, and he kind of ignored that, and he didn't even hear that because I didn't speak with authority. And he always came and attacked me on my stomach. And bro, that feeling was so weird. And he always kind of tickled me. I always woke up, and I called my mom and cried and all that, and they prayed over me, and I went to bed. But I always knew when I go to bed right now, that's why I was always afraid. When I go to bed again and sleep, that I will always wake up and be in the same scenario, and the devil will come again. But I had no choice, and I fell asleep, and I was back there. Same scenario. I heard the footsteps of the devil. I heard him coming up, and sometimes I was like so annoyed from him like kind of attacking me on that area, because it felt so weird, bro. I'm telling you. And that's why we had like a window in that kitchen area, and I always jumped out that window. And the time I jumped out that window and landed, I never felt that landing, but always I knew when I landed, I woke up. And that was like kind of my escape, always jumping out of that window. But looking back, it could have ended so much worse. My mom, my dad prayed, and that's what, in my opinion, kept us safe. Even though I had these attacks, that kept me safe, right? Because a lot of people sleepwalk. My brother, he was in the same room with me, and we had the same dreams so many times. Not all the times, but so many times we had the same dreams where we were tormented by the devil. And I thank God for this, because my brother almost died because he said that he had the same dream and that he took the same escape route that I took into jumping out of the window. But check this out. He was actually sleepwalking. Man, I'm getting goosebumps right now, because he was actually sleepwalking, and he was on his way to jump from the balcony. And we were in the second floor of our apartment. So if he had jumped down, he will be dead instantly, for sure. But thank God that my mother woke up. And she said she didn't know why she woke up, but she kind of just went to the bathroom, and then she saw, because when you went to the bathroom, you saw the living room, because the living room went to the balcony area, and she saw how my brother just walked to that balcony, and he was almost about to jump, and my mother ran to that balcony and grabbed him. And as he then later on told us that he had that dream, and I was kind of like, whoa, man, I had the same dreams, and that could have happened to me. I could have sleepwalked and jumped out of the window and died. And I thank the Lord, because it could have happened. It could have happened, and I would not be here. My brother would not be here. But thankfully, the Lord, his protection was on us. Even though we had nightmares, the protection was still on us. And now looking back, I know that this house, something iffy was going on in this house, right? The landlord, as I said, was iffy, and there was just a discord, right? And then later on, as I was like 11 years old, we moved into another house, and since so far I had never had a single nightmare. And this house is just a blessing, man. Glory be to God. Glory be to God. And it's just crazy looking back, because I was tormented by the devil for all this time. I had the same nightmares every single night. You always know that the devil is behind you. The devil will get you, and you can't do nothing about it. It was awful. It was awful. But I thank the Lord. He freed me. He freed my brother too. And like I said, no more nightmares for us, man. The devil had his share back then, but now, man, he's scared. Not of me, but the army behind me. Because now I really understand in what I believe. Now I understand what Jesus is and the power behind Jesus, right? But hey, I just wanted to share this testimony with y'all. 6 years is a long time being tormented by the devil, but glory be to God. There's always a bright end in sight. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, put on the post notifications bell, because hey, I'm uploading videos every week. And if you like my content, want to support me, then I will really appreciate for you to hit these few buttons. It will really help me. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one.